May profits be upon you. I'm going to continue in part two of the video. Uh, Let me say that with the CAD, all right, I am not changing my bias here. We have, uh, read the notes, all right, but because price has made a new low, made a new swing low, and moved back up to this internal pool of liquidity, we have not closed above it. We have not traded through it yet. All right. We have not traded through this break of market structure here. So I'm looking for uh, this fair value gap ultimately to hold until it fails. If it fails, if we get a close above it and price trades through it, then I'm going to count it as it's still holding, and I'm looking for price to make its way towards the next swing low, which is right here at 0.73075. No, excuse me, 0.73075. Right. All right. So the next one would be the Swiss US dollar, Swiss franc. Actually, this is Swiss franc US dollar. So whatever I'm telling you as far as buys, take it as a sell. All right. If you invert in the chart on the futures side, and you'll have US dollar Swiss franc. I hope you understand that from the last video. Please check the last video for the last notes. All right. On the daily, you can actually see price has uh, formed a bearish engulfer, then traded through that bearish engulfer. All right. And this is forming a breaker block. All right. And then as it's trading through, it leaves a fair value gap. All right. We have overlapping PDRAs. And that is very powerful. We call it a unicorn because if you use it for execution, it's a unicorn. And this should we expect price to continue higher from here. I don't know why I got this all the way over here. Look at the notes and on your on on your own time. But what I'm looking for is price to continue higher from these levels. We're coming down to the consummate encroachment, the middle, the 50% of the fair value gap. You can see that light dotted line there, and I'm just expecting price to go from an interior, all right, an interior level of liquidity, because we've already taken out this high, that structural high. We swept that high. We come back into the that's the external, and we come back to the internal, and I'm looking for the external to be the next target, which would be the high of this candle. All right, so this is what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for price to work its way up to that new target, which is at 1.11630. Next, the Japanese yen. I don't like this. You can read these notes. I don't like this market because of Bank of Japan intervention policies, and it just makes the market unpredictable. But there are some notes on this one. One, we are in a bullish fair value gap, so therefore my bias is cautiously bullish. All right, there's some reasons to think that price will continue higher from here to hit this next liquidity target at 0.0064705. All right, if we go down to the lower time frames, you can see shoot, I don't want to take too much time here. If you go down to the 4 hour, you can see that we are in a 4 hour uh, uh, fair value gap here inside the daily fair value gap. All right, they overlap. We also have a bearish fair value gap overlapping the bullish fair value gap in the same time frame. So this gives some stability, and it gives us dependability that the fair value gap will hold price, will act as support. Now you see prices already moved up and then shot back down. So there's a struggle going on here. But I'm looking for price to reach up and take that high. There are a lot of bearish fair value gaps on the lower time frames inside of this wick, and price is going to have to fight through it in order to close above it. But again, this isn't the market that you want to play around on. If you want to see something else on this market, go to the 1 hour and you'll see that there is a a breaker block with a fair overlapping fair value gap that has formed, and we should see some bullishness from here. All right. But again, this is the Bank of Japan's baby, so they're doing their thing with it. So this isn't a market that I would put a whole lot of hopes in. If price does break and close above here on a daily closing basis, then I will have restored some more confidence in my in the structure and in the strength of these bullish PD arrays. All right. Now that does it for the FX pairs. Let's go to the indices, and we're going to look at the S&P. All right. Read the caution. All right. But we are in a bullish fair value gap. Price is already stung into it and reacted bullishly. We're looking at price at the all-time highs. You have to be careful going into all-time highs because there's nothing to give us data as the structure, and we don't have liquidity targets or anything. So we're just going into no man's land up here. So you have to be very careful with how you take buys and where you put your profit targets. All right. I'm looking for lower time frame guidance on this. So I would definitely encourage you to go to the lower time frames when price hits your POIs. Okay. Uh, Let me also point out that on the NASDAQ, we have the very same situation. Prices hit the highs. All right. We only swept it as an external target. We come into the internal target. All right. The PD array, the bullish fair value gap. Do I have any notes on this one inside? No. All right. So I'm just looking for more bullishness from this point, and I'm looking for price to start forming some bullish fair value gaps in both of these markets. Okay, the next one we're going to oil, crude oil. All right, I like to play in crude oil, but it's been rough. It's been kind of choppy here, trapped between a bullish fair value gap and a bearish fair value gap. All right, price has pushed down, taken out these lows. All right. And we are in a fair value gap, and price has had 3 consecutive days of bullishness. All right. Do I expect price to go any higher into this fair value gap? I think it's fair to think that it will, because it hasn't reached a consummate encroachment, and we are trying to uh, get out of this consolidation. I'm looking for manipulation to the upside and then down further. There are relative equal lows down here. All right, but price could definitely go a little higher. But I'm looking for this fair value gap to hold. All right, and let's see, gold. If we go to gold, there's some notes on this one. All right, where is price right now? Price is in a very bullish candle. All right. There's a lot of things going on in the world in the geopolitical sense. All right. Where it's causing gold to find, be found as a safe haven. All right. Wars, and BRIC nations, the nations that are trying to get away from the US dollar, but they're finding, putting their money back into gold. So it's just, there's a lot going on with gold, and the precious metals, including China. If you follow political and government policies over there, you'll see there's a good reason why the metals, they are the biggest, the largest consumer of metals, and they can just uh, make the market go up and down. All right, I what we have here is 1 2. All right, price traded through structure here. All right, traded through structure here and closed above it. So you're thinking, okay, price has a clear intent to go higher. It pulled back into, as it took the high out, it pulled back, found an internal, the internal liquidity in the bullish fair value gap, and then continued higher. Took out this high on a lower time frame. This is a swing high, folks, and it, of course, it was convincing in its close above it. So, do I expect price to continue higher? Of course. Do I think that price will pull back some? It very well could. I think it's going to pull back to right around this area, the 2400 area. All right, because on the 4 hour you will see that this is a pattern. All right, you can see the pattern as it goes up. Price makes a higher high, takes that high out, pulls back about 50% or more, and then trades through the next swing high, right? And then price pulls back about 50% or more, all right? And then what do? We trade through the swing high, just like we did these, just like we did those. And then what did it do? It pulled back about 50% or more, all right? And traded through what? The swing high, all right? Do I expect price to do the same thing? Yeah, I expect price to pull back right around the same area, about 50% or more, all right around 60%, and then continue higher. It's just, higher, higher, higher lows. This is the way it's been doing. And it likes to gather up buyers to take along and take out the ones that were ahead of them. The breakout traders. It comes back below, takes out their stop losses. All right, and then continues higher. So this is the way it generates and liquidates uh, traders to fuel the move up or the move down. All right. Once price takes this high out, I'm looking for a a significant pullback. If price continues higher and takes this out before the pullback, I'm looking for that pullback to come right after it takes out that high in order to take out this high. I'm looking for price to pull back. If it goes up, watch. If it goes up first, I'm looking for it to pull back to right around here. All right. Measure it from, put your fib on and look for about a 50 to 60% pullback, and then go higher. Okay. Same thing. If we move on to silver, silver is much more stronger. Silver is outperforming gold for sure. All right. Oops. What am I doing here? All right. So I'm looking for. Oh wow! I didn't see the time. I'm looking for price to. If I can just get this thing over here. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. Okay. All right. All right. So if we go back to the daily, all right, read my notes here. All right. All right. You can see that price had a strong close above the swing high. All right. So, it has an intent on going on bullishness. There's nothing bearish. There's no sells to take yet. All right. We've taken out this high, this high. This is the next high. Okay. Because we took out this swing high, we could see the pullback over here. I want to point that out. I want to make sure you see that. See the swing high here? Oops. Don't drive me crazy. All right. We could see the pullback. All right. Because, like I said, when price takes out a high, especially when price takes out a swing high, all right, there's usually some kind of pullback. All right. I'm looking for that pullback to happen. I'm also looking for fair value gaps to form somewhere in here. All right. I'm looking for those fair value gaps to form. All right. Price gives me a fair value gap, puts a candle up here, puts a candle up here. I'm looking for a sting into that fair value gap before it continues higher. If it starts to come back down now, I'm looking for price to come back right around to this area, which is the last area of fair value. Okay. I'm looking for price to come back in this fair value area. All right. Balance that that inefficient price movement, and come back and get some buyers, and I wouldn't be one of them, and take us up to the the monthly uh, draw on liquidity up there. All right, that's what I have here. All right, I don't know why that was all crazy. Okay, so uh, yeah, that's what I'm looking at on that one, and I believe that is my last market. Yes, it is. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed uh, the weekly Forex forecast. I, I'm looking forward to doing another one soon. I will probably be putting out some updates on my other accounts uh, uh, to include TradingView uh, during the week. Okay, so just keep an eye on things, trade carefully, and may profits be upon you.